I walked in there and she basically just told me that the process to dropping out of college is easy. So she said that if I want to come back, they'll welcome me with open arms. But pretty much to sum it up, she gave me a withdrawal form. She sent it to my email. I have to fill that out today, and then I have to call housing either today or like whenever. And then I have to tell them that I met with the advisor, and that then they'll contact the advisor, and then once they confirm the stuff, then they'll give me an amount of time to move out, and then I just have to book a flight, and then I have to get rich.
Okay.
So
Seems easy enough.
she was a cool young woman. She told me that. She said, "What's been going on? Have you been like what's been going on?" I pretty much just said I wanted to spice it up a little bit, so I told her. I said, I mean, I'm from Massachusetts where it's cold and stuff, so I wanted to always come down to Florida. And I said that once I got here, I realized that I wanted to go to Florida, not NSU. So she pretty much said, like, she understands it's happened before. And then she said, "What's going on?" I said, I'm like, it's just been a lot of pressure on me and stuff, you know? That's what I told her. And then we started talking about rap, and she said, "What kind of rap do you make?" She said, "What do you have plans for what you want to do? Because I don't want you to be homeless." I'm not lying. She said that. She said, "What do you want to do before I press this withdraw button? Do you have plans for what you're doing after you drop out?" And I told her that, yeah, I rap. And then she said, "How long have you been rapping?" And I said, "For like a year and a half." She's like, "Oh, okay, so you're pretty new to the game." She's like, "What kind of rap do you make?" And I was like, "Do you know who J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are?" And she was like, "Yeah, I love them. They're my favorite type." And then we just kind of started talking about that. And then I asked her if she knew who Joyner Lucas was. And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, he's from the same city where I'm from." So we kind of just talked about that. She said like it's not a rare thing to do, to drop out. But yeah, I just have to go through those steps. What do you think about it?
I think college like specializes you in one thing. So when you take up broad interests like business, like just business, if you go to college for just business, it's kind of like, well, that's not very specific. There's a lot of different businesses. And when you have something that broad, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, is that worth going to college for? You know, if you want to do, like, if you want to be a left toenail doctor, see how that's super specific?
Yeah, that's
like,
some
so
college-ass shit.
that's the type of stuff you go to college for. But a lot of people go to college and do business, which I understand because businesses can make a lot of money. It lets people be independent, but it's just college isn't always the best thing for business. You know what I'm saying? Or things that are that broad. So it really depends on what you're doing. College definitely has its place, but it's not for everybody anymore. It used to be, and that's why a lot of people are pressured by their parents, because when your parents went to college, that's probably what it was for. But nowadays, it's just, stuff is different. So you can't just blindly go to college and be straight anymore. You have to kind of put more planning into it. You just dropped out of college. What's the next move?
The next move is to put 90% of my energy into strategizing on how to get rich. Because I have to take here's the thing. Here's how it works in my head. I now have to take full accountability for my decision. So I decided to drop out of college. Whether or not I thought about it fully before I made the decision was already made, so it's accountability at this point. So a lot of people would say like, you should have thought about it before you did it, but that's equivalent to saying that your grandmother shouldn't have died. Like, it already happened. So I already made the decision, and I think as a man, you have to be able to admit that you didn't think about the decision fully before you made the decision, because it is a big decision. I'm dropping out of college. But I'm able to admit that because I for sure did not think 100% and strategize my whole plan and before I dropped out of college. But now I realize that the reason I dropped out of college was almost like a gut thing.
A gut instinct.
It was almost like a gut instinct. It was almost like, if I drop out of college, am I gonna be homeless? My answer to myself would be no, because of what I believe. But if that is the circumstances, then that's gonna be the circumstances. And the reason it's a gut instinct is because I get a rush off of doing things that you're not supposed to do, I guess. But I mean, it's similar to like saying, like, why do kickboxers get in the ring? They get in the ring because if they don't get in the, why do kickboxers get in the ring knowing that there's a high chance of them leaving, getting like knocked out, having a black eye, broken nose, broken jaw? They do that because if they made the decision to not do it, then it would just be straight border. Like they have to do stuff to give them that rush. And that I believe that's where that instinct came from in my gut, was I'm gonna make the decision to withdraw from college, and because it will make me feel more alive than if I'm in college.
So college was making you feel kind of like dead.
Here's the thing with college was making me confused. College was making me more confused than it had to be. College was making it so stuff wasn't as simple as it should have been, and that's in my opinion. In terms of like, I'm in college and I have to wake up and go to a class, and that's pretty normal, but I could be putting my energy into something completely different that is way more on my path, that will lead me directly to my success. And I'm in no way, shape, or form am I bashing anybody who stays in college, because at the end of the day, Aiden said this earlier today, figuring out your life path is not easy at all. It's not easy at all. So if you're sitting here and you're saying that you don't have the gut, you're saying I have the gut instinct to drop out, because a lot of people do. A lot of people do not feel like they fit into college, and they have that gut instinct to drop out, but they decide that I'm gonna stay in so that I have something to lean back on. And that's straight, that's cool. You're not less of a man, you're not less of a woman to me. You're just attacking the issue in a different way. And I think there's definitely right or wrong in a lot of situations in life. Like, we can't just sit here and act like there's not a lot of that every situation is just neutral. A lot of stuff is perspective and how you look at it, but there's a lot of situations where if you kill somebody, you're wrong. So like, there's situations like that, but in this situation of like dropping out, like, since I'm taking into consideration how difficult it truly is to graduate from high school and figure out your life path, I'm not one to judge anybody. And also, on top of that, we spoke about this morning. I would, if I wasn't meant to drop out of college, I would not have dropped out of college.
Okay, so for the people who don't know, tell them where we're living right now, at this very moment.
At this very moment, we're in probably like an 8 foot. Nah, I'd say like an 8 to 9 foot width. Length probably like 13 to 15 feet. So we're in a small dorm room. We got a lot of equipment right now. It's 2 of us. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Where we are in the world, we're in the United States of America. We're in Florida. And if you're, I'm not going to give the exact location, because the exact location means that you can come out and do something to us if you want to. So yeah.
Okay, and if we're in a dorm room and you're dropping out of college, then where are you gonna live?
Well, I went to the academic advising office, and they said that I'm gonna call. The lady says she doesn't want me to be homeless. Okay, well, I don't want you to be homeless either. So that didn't really help, but I get why she said that. She said, make sure that you got something to do before you drop out. So I basically asked her the question, like, so how long would I have? If I'm not a student here, how long would I have, right? That's why I asked her. She said, well, once you fill out this withdrawal form that I'm about to fill out right now, you submit it to me, email it to me, and then call the housing office. And then she provided me the number. I'm gonna call the housing office, and I'm gonna basically, all I have to say is that I'm unenrolling from the university. I met with an advisor from the career office, and that's pretty much all I have to say. And she said that they'll give me a time period of how long I can stay. So that's to answer the first part of the question. Like, we're here, and right now we have about, probably I'd say they give us like a week or two to move out. When I made this decision last night of dropping out, I made the decision that I'm gonna go back to Massachusetts.
Okay, so you're saying that you're gonna go back and live with your parents for a little bit?
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna live with my parents as long. I doubt it will be for over. It will be on probably until the summer, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go again, and I'm gonna move out of their house. But like I said, I also came across this a couple months ago. Trust me, this has been in my mind, so it's not like I haven't been thinking about this. I look at moving out of your parents' house, moving out, doing your own thing, and then moving back, and then moving back out, and then moving back, and then moving back out is 25 times better than moving in. No, than being born and staying in your parents' house and never moving out. So that's how I'm thinking about it. And I think that if I move back, and who knows, maybe in 2 months, I'm gonna get my stuff up and I'm gonna decide to leave again. And then I'll decide to leave, and I'll make that decision because it's all based, like, to back up all of these things these decisions that I'm making is backed up by, one, if God didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. And two, taking a risk is better than not taking a risk. Meaning, okay, if I move back to Massachusetts for 2 months and then would get up and decide to leave again, yeah, my parents may not like that because they just witnessed what happened. But I've already broke this down to my parents the best way I can. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but me personally, I believe that taking a risk is what will build you better than not taking a risk. So I just think I find a beauty in not necessarily fucking up in life, but I see the beauty in making a decision, and whether it goes right or wrong, you are able to recognize that it went right or wrong. Like, you're able to recognize it instead of just breaking down. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm going back to Massachusetts right after this. What is your direct message? Pretend that all the college dropouts who failed right now are listening to you, watching this. What is your direct?
Failed in life?
Failed in life. They're poor. Either they don't have to be homeless, but they could still be in their mom house. Mm-hmm. What is your direct message to those people? You can give your message to men, failure college dropouts who were males, failure college dropouts who were women, because we have to admit, gotta be a difference.
Definitely. My message, if you are a military age man who was in college and isn't anymore, what happened? That'd be my answer. What happened? Because how can you drop out of college without a plan, go home, realize that you don't have many options? You know, you kind of have to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you can get away. Maybe you have a wife, no kids, work a hard manual labor job 80 hours a week. Maybe you can come home and have enough money to put food on the table. But, you know, you can't even dream about having a kid because you don't have enough money. So either you do that, that's one option, and your other option is to be rich and be an entrepreneur. So I guess my message would be
advice too.
Advice.
you can hate on them, but then give them advice?
Well, my advice would be to ask yourself what you're passionate at, then ask yourself if that can make money. Okay, if you really like art and you like to be a painter, that's, I would never hate on another person's passion, but we're all lying to ourselves if we say painters. Now, I'm not talking house painters, I mean like an artist. Artists don't make a lot of money. So while that might be your passion, and while it's good to be passionate about something, at some point you have to analyze the situation and really look at it for what it is. And it would be foolish of you to pursue art instead of going to college just because it's your passion and you want to be a freelance artist. I understand, and I'm not bashing you that that's your passion, but that doesn't make money. And if you're going to drop out of college, the first thing, especially, it depends if you're a man or a woman, but especially, because women need to too, but especially if you're a man, your number one priority should be to feed your family. So I don't care what passion you have. If you have no way to make money to feed your family, that should be your passion. Your passion should be to put food on the table. So if you dropped out and you're not doing anything, what happened? Because something must have took the fire out of you, because most men would be absolutely disgusted with themselves if they were military aged and sat at home and can't even buy food for their family, and they just don't have a job, they have nothing going for them. I don't know, how can you even sleep at night? So
Right.
I don't really have advice, because I'd have to ask that person a lot of questions first, because
Okay,
something crazy must be going on that I don't know about.